Good evening. Thank you for joining San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. This is Harry, and of course, I brought Scott on the line here wearing a nice spiffy hat. I think I'm going to have to get one of those. Kind of jealous. Be able to wear that around town and at the San Antonio FC games here. So we'll start out with some opening thoughts. Scott, how was your week? Anything exciting for you and the family?
Oh yeah, no news is good news. As you mentioned, but basically the most exciting thing for me is some new merchandise. Stopped by Sammy's Embroidery and had our logo digitized for sewing. So got a nice little stitched hat here, and I'm actually going to get one for you and Jose. And Todd is a way of saying thank you. So just kind of wanted to see how they turned out and everything. And yeah, I think they look really nice. So if you guys need any sewing or any apparel, Sammy's Embroidery got it done for me. Did a great job. And then I also in the mail today got my Coppell Soccer official alumni shirt. So thank you, Coppell Soccer. I was not able to make it to Dallas for the alumni game, but was able to get the T-shirt. So can still say I did that. Check.
Nice. So that's a good way to start the week. And I know for me, we kind of took a break from soccer. We got to go to the UTSA North Texas basketball game for the men's. The runners, I don't want to say it was an upset, but they got the W, the last minute shot. So I know some UNT fans were a little bit salty thinking it was a travel, but they live in Denton and we live in San Antonio. So that's enough said about that. So.
Well, we'll even talk about the Cowboy game.
Hey, at least you made the playoffs. I still don't think that they're America's team anymore, which I sent you a meme on. But that's a separate discussion for another day here. But well, just off topic on that here. Do you think the season was a success for them?
The way the season started out, they were 3-5, halfway through. So I think it was a success. Obviously, I think every Dallas Cowboy fan is hoping for some coaching changes that will never come. And
it's not gonna happen now, right? Because they made the playoffs.
So not for Garrett. Right? Yeah. So Minahan. Maybe. At first, I've heard that he wasn't going anywhere. Now they're saying that they won't say that he's definitely coming back, but we'll leave that speculation to the real professionals.
So like the ticket 60 guys and the
ESPN SA
guys for that here. But so after the opening shots here, looks at here. I know you went and caught some soccer. On last weekend here. So. You're our soccer go-to guy, so any information that you want to, or special secrets that you want to tell since you got your alumni shirt?
Yeah, so kind of in high school news this weekend, I got to go check out the NEISD Showcase tournament with Rafa, a friend of ours and everything, who we watched some of the matches with the previous weekend, and got to see MacArthur versus Edison. Got to see South San take on Legacy, so some of the SAISD schools. And also, too, they had Bernie versus Antonian going on over there at Blossom. So, they were playing on the grass field, so you could kind of look back and forth. And I watched the first half of the South San Antonio versus Legacy game. And, Legacy looked like they were going to put it on them. But South San Antonio started coming back there towards the end of the second half, was able to towards the end of the first half, was able to get an equalizing goal, and they were playing a man down. So for playing a man down, and they didn't really have any subs. I don't know if grades were a factor now that kind of school's back in session. My understanding is that Legacy split off of Church. It may not be Churchill. I know Legacy's a new school. Rafa was telling me that it just split off of another school here in San Antonio. Me being from Dallas-Fort Worth, I'm not too familiar with all of the different high schools here. But it's kind of affected some of the talent for each of those teams because now they're having to field two separate teams. And so a lot of those players he had mentioned kind of got split from, when they used to just have one team. So, but the two teams that really impressed me were going to be MacArthur was playing really well versus Edison. They had 3 goals, I think, in the first half, and also Antonian worked the ball really well. So Antonian's kind of the other school that's playing in taps with Central Catholic. That's where Coach Raul went. So Antonia is going to be another team to watch this year. But I am excited to announce we are going to kind of have our first high school game of the week. And that's going to be this Friday as the Johnson Jaguars take on the Central Catholic Buttons. So I'm really excited to see that match. I know Central Catholic is playing Lee this evening, so unfortunately, not out there to that, doing the podcast instead. But we'll see the results from that game, and Central Catholic gets that victory. I think it's just going to make that game against Johnson that much more exciting to see how they do against some of these premier teams that are in the UIL versus the schools and TAPS. So
where it's at, is it at Central Catholic or?
So that's a great question. I actually had that pulled up before we started doing some of our discussion and everything. Let me just get back to it real quick because I saw the stadium that it was at, but I do not know, to be completely honest with you, if that's Central Catholic Stadium. But I'll get you that information here.
I know the schools are pretty close as well, right off of 281 there. So that probably is a pretty good rivalry, you would think, because I know Johnson's been a pretty good school, or starting to develop that history. I know they're still a relatively young school. Don't get me wrong, but I believe they're a little bit further up the road than Central Catholic is, because I used to work over in that area. So.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, so it looks like they're playing at Central Catholic because they have that pretty cool field there that's kind of downtown that's set, with the skyline and everything off in the distance. So that game is going to be at 7 o'clock on Friday there at 1403 North St. Mary Street. So, I guess if it's your Friday and you want to hit up St. Mary Street before some high school soccer action, don't get too crazy, but should be a good game. I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to that. I'll see if I can get out and bring AJ. Depends what time it kicks off, just for the fact to go from SeaWorld side over to the opposite side of town on a Friday evening. Not the easiest. I'll do it for San Antonio FC, don't get me wrong, because I know they typically start at about 7:30. But I have a feeling this probably is kickoff time is going to be when? Do you
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Oh, so yeah, that's something that we could all probably get to.
Yeah, definitely. No, gonna have to book it over there. And it looks like Friday the high is set for 70 degrees, so it might be actually a pretty warm day compared to some of the weather that we've been having here recently. So that's kind of, I was thinking about taking Delaney and Wyatt out there, so just checking to see if you need to bundle up, but it should be a pretty nice evening.
Yeah. So the next thing on the list here, and I know we talked about this in the pre-thing here. But the Trinity players we want to also recognize here. So I don't know if you happen to have their names handy. But while you're looking at that here, something that just came out today, and I'm going to reference the San Antonio Current for it here, Sanford Nolan, and I know if you go to WI or any of the others, they also have this story. But on the northwest side of town, over by where you and I live, they're going to be developing a new soccer. What they call Soccer Central. It's going to be, I guess it's going to cost in the neighborhood of $6.2 million. According to here, it's, the site will include an 82,000 square foot indoor-outdoor training facility, a pro shop, 15 fields allowing 9 different types of soccer play. In addition, the complex will house classrooms, a cafe, European-style training machines to sharpen athletic skills. So, to me, like I said, here it is, just looking at the rendering, and, we all know renderings don't always equate, but looking at it, looks like here you got a beach soccer, some futsal, and then, different sides of fields for that here. So I know for the northwest side, which there's not a lot of soccer facilities compared to the northeast side. I'm super excited about this, and looking at, according to the site here, it's expected to open by June, or at least one of the first phase of it. I don't think the whole thing will be open by June, but at least the first phase is scheduled to be open. And just to kind of let you know, kind of part of the town here, it looks like it's going to be, if you're familiar where, what is it, Northwest Hills Christian School, or it's in that area, which is off of Grissom Road and Probably the biggest cross street is Grissom and Bandera through there, or the Grissom and Calabria area, kind of in the in that area. So for our side of town, it's awesome. I know the northeast side, has Star, and I know there's quite a few soccer academies, on that side here. So for San Antonio, for developing the roots and stuff like that, I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited about it too. Obviously, when a complex like this size opens, you kind of wonder first and foremost what it's going to be used for. I know you had some suggestions about potentially a UPSL club could use something like this. We have a few of them here in San Antonio. Obviously, Samba seems pretty ingrained there with Wheatley. Yeah, but you had some thoughts kind of around the runners. Do you care to share that with us?
Yeah, I wonder if, like I said here, it's I wonder what if this would give them the opportunity to give them their own facility, because with the field that they share now, being on campus, and we saw what happened in the playoffs, that they had to move fields because the school closed down, and like I said here, so to me, if they're able to partner with it. With Soccer Central, I wonder if that would be a facility, because it's still on the same, it's probably 10-15 minutes maybe away from UTSA, depending on traffic and where you're going. So it's in the relatively same area. I know it's not on UTSA, and I know the runners, their identity is part of UTSA, but they are not technically affiliated with them. So to me, I wonder if it would be something like that, or to me, what about a new team? Because UPSL did approve 3 teams, in San Antonio, and I do believe that we could handle 3 teams here, especially for the kids, because I know John and Samba's got the the southeast side, that they developed. The runners got more of the college side, but like in our area, you got Stevens, you got Warren. Yeah, Brandeis, you got Brennan, and I'm sure there's a couple other schools that are missing. Marshall, closer on 410.
O'Connor.
There's schools and facilities that as we highlighted the high school kids, it gives them that avenue, and with I know Northwest Vista has a club team, so there's soccer around the city. But it gives them that next platform where, hey, am I good enough to take the next step beyond high school, to where, hey, if you're playing, let's say for Northwest Vista, it gives you a little bit more exposure for that here. I know I'm hoping to see if we can try to reach out to the facility director in the future to see if we can get a little bit more information on that here. But like I said, this just came out today, and like I said, I do want to give credit to Sanford Nolan off of San Antonio Current, that had that's the story I got. But I do know that there are other reports, but his seemed to have the most detailed from what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to try and get Raul on. So if anybody knows Raul or Duna, put us in touch. Because, yeah, I'd love to find out. I know like Cesar Elizondo has the Tapatios Academy, and they have, 4 or 5 fields that they're working on down there kind of on the south side of San Antonio. So like I said, I'm just kind of curious. It says Soccer Central. It doesn't say, if they're going to be a specific league or a new league starting up or a new club or anything like that. So we'll definitely try and get some more details, but that is exciting. $6.2 million soccer facility going on over here in Leon Valley.
Bucks.
Yeah, just a few, just a small investment, right? How much was Toyota Field?
Well, what's great, we laugh about that. If this is a story that we'll probably wrap up on. If the Spurs don't make MLS, which after today's news is highly unlikely, at least in the near term, at least per the agreement here, I believe they'll owe the city around $5 million, if I remember right on the agreement. So that's more than what the Spurs would have to pay back to the city and county, most likely without knowing the details. And even then, I wonder if it'll be a wink handshake. We'll put it in something else. So the other thing here with the new field here, I know we kind of hit on UPSL Samba. They're up for the UPSL Goal of the Year. I think it's eight. It's 4 matches, so 8 players were selected. Samba is listed on there. If you go under, I think it's probably under My Cujo, UPSL Central. I know Samba has a link, UPSL on Twitter. Please go out and vote. Like I said here, for the player, I forgot to write down his name here. Let me see if I can pull that up here real quick.
I got you, buddy. It's Emilio Mendez.
So, but I'm pretty sure it was kind of very similar to what the USL had when all of the goal of the week winners went into this playoff here, and so there. So, if we can support Samba, like I said here, I know. With the weekly award that there was a small cash prize or not, a small cash reward. So I'm assuming probably with the goal of the year that there could be possibly some cash compensation for either Samba or the player directly. So other than that, like I said here, not a lot of details in the UPSL world at this point. I would probably expect probably in the next couple of weeks, because it seems like a lot of things are getting restarted for the new season. To going through there. So, which brings us to San Antonio FC. Did we have any news drop this week, Scott?
We did have some news brought this week. I knew you were going to be smiling about that. So, finally got those, at least a few pieces of information you've been waiting on, right? That preseason schedule, I think, being the first and foremost. So, I'm curious, they finally released their preseason schedule. Are you just like so excited and so pumped up over the preseason schedule?
I'm pumped up. It's the same issues for it, though. But although this year's got a little bit of caveats, especially for the away trip to Dallas, like they normally do
every year.
Every year.
University of Incarnate Word every year. Trinity Tigers every year. I mean, I think
what I don't see is the Austin teams. Usually they play St. Edwards generally, but I don't see them on there. The surprise on it, so just to go on the schedule here in case you don't have it here. February 2nd, they kick off against Incarcerated Word.
Don't say incarcerated Word.
Hey, I went to school there. That's
okay. Then you're allowed to. Yeah, then you are allowed
to. On February 9th, and this one I want to highlight, they play at FC Dallas. I know it says to be determined on the site here. I did go up to FC Dallas. They're actually having a doubleheader, and you could probably highlight this a little bit more. But at 2:00, they're playing FC Bayern, the under-23 team.
U23s.
And then under-23 team. But then right after that, or at 4:00, they're going to be facing San Antonio FC. So it'll be a split squad for that. And then I believe after that game, which is typically what happens, they'll take off for to Tucson and Phoenix area for the Sun Cup over there. The tickets are $10, unlike last year, and I think the previous years where it was just at kind of a practice field. It will be at the stadium for that here, and I believe they, I'll be interested, and I believe me and AJ are going to go and we'll, for it, we'll take the family up. But they also have the Soccer Hall of Fame up there that they opened up as well. So
that's very true.
Might be a great opportunity to get in, for $10, a person, you get to catch both games. Possibly, I like to see the stadiums. I've never been to, Toyota Field up there or Toyota Stadium. I forget which one. It's a Toyota something for that here. But to me, like I said, I think that's the star attraction as far as away. They come back home on the 16th. They play St. Louis FC. It's closed. From my understanding, St. Louis FC is also going to be training down here as well, when they open up their camp. The game that we do get to see, which I'm kind of excited about, is February 23rd against El Paso, the Locomotives. That'll be at 7:00. If you are a season ticket member, it is free. If you're not a season ticket member, what's wrong with you? It's like I said, it's to me, it's the best 2 hours that you can spend on a weekend for that here. Surprisingly, March 1st, they play RGV, but it's closed door, so nobody will get to see it. And then the following day, they wrap up against Trinity. So once again, only one open game here that season ticket members will get to get. Your thoughts?
Well, I think it's interesting because, first off, just going back to kind of the poll that we had on, the perks of season ticket membership and what you valued most, the thing like having these open matches and the season ticket member events was almost the least voted on option. I mean, I get it was a kind of a limited sample selection or whatever. We don't have a whole lot of people that participate in those. But it kind of surprised me a little bit that most people it was the tickets, maybe a concession voucher, and then the merchandise is really what they're interested in. I think that the preseason schedule, like I said, we probably could have predicted 75%, 80% of those matches.
I don't know about that, and the reason why I say that is, I think the two college schools you would have thought, and
FC Dallas,
for whatever reason, we always play FC Dallas.
So that's 50%.
That's three of them.
3 out of 6.
But the one that surprises me, there's no Austin Bold, and there's no away trip this year. So there's no bonding trip, whether it's to Florida or last year it was over to Phoenix, where they got, an additional, and you can tell me, is that important to kind of have that bonding away, and the other thing that sticks out to me, their first 2 weeks are at home. So they don't, really they don't go, and I don't consider FC Dallas, at Toyota Stadium really a away trip, because that's just a bus ride up for day one and coming back for day two, unless they're actually going to be training with them and Bayern. And I don't know their relationship, if it's that close, if that's a possibility, but
I believe that Bayern and FC Dallas have a relationship actually.
They have one, yes.
So, I was, like I said, when they first announced, my brother had shared the event of FC Dallas versus Bayern's U23. I had originally thought about going up there actually just purely for that match. That when they announced San Antonio FC being played in a doubleheader that same day, I almost wonder though, like I know I've seen some other people excited about the FC Dallas match. To me, I think the more exciting game is the El Paso Locomotive. I mean, that's the one that I'm really excited for, and not just because it's at home, obviously, and it's open to the public. But I mean, I've been up there to FC Dallas, I think, the last 2 years. For that, it's basically a scrimmage. They'll usually send down, a couple players from their first team. And my thoughts with them having the scrimmage against but Bayern Munich's U23 team, is San Antonio FC almost just like an afterthought of, we'll fit you in too. And, some of the guys that aren't going to play in the Premier, I mean, the people that go to that game, that buy tickets for that game, it's going to be interesting to see how many stick around for FC Dallas versus San Antonio FC, and how many go for the Bayern Munich game. And then if it's too cold or, the weather's not that great, they take off after that game's over. So, I mean, to me, it just doesn't excite me that much, the San Antonio FC Dallas game. I mean, it's going to be a scrimmage. To me, I think the El Paso game is going to be much more exciting. And that's really the one on the calendar that kind of surprised me the most, that I'm the most excited about.
Were you kind of surprised not to see the Bold on there?
I am and I'm not. They have RGV on there, obviously, which it almost makes you wonder who's the bigger rival now, because I think part of the reason why, you don't really schedule the Bold is because you play them so early in the season, and that's going to be a rivalry in and of itself in that match. Mm-hmm. So, obviously SS&E doesn't like having a whole lot of games open to the public. We've played RGV several times now. So by scheduling RGV, it's not as, you don't feel like you're missing out as a fan by not being able to witness that. And I think you select El Paso over Austin just because Austin's already going to have so much hype, and you already play them so early in the season. Why not, scrimmage El Paso instead? And, you get a chance to see them, for their first match pretty much. And I know it's a preseason friendly, but and what'll be basically one of their first major games, I imagine.
Yeah, I know El Paso, and I don't think they've released their full schedule, but I know they play North Texas, the Dallas FC2 team. I want to say a couple weeks from now, actually, before the end of January. But yeah, to be honest with you, I'm psyched to see El Paso, and I was hoping to be able to go over to there, but it looks like there's going to be some work issues that's going to pop up that unfortunately I'm going to be transitioning. To a new position. So I don't think the third day of the week after I'm going to be, hey, I need to take off a day.
For a second. Well, and that's a great point. The El Paso games are both on Wednesdays.
Both on
so
Wednesdays,
yeah.
So this is going to be the only time, and I think it's the 6 shooter pistols. I think that's their supporters groups.
Oh, okay. I was like, who's this club?
So I'm hoping that a few of them will make the trip over, because I think that'd be kind of fun to start to interact with them, and because they are a true indie team, and I think they are a team that we know that will be sticking around, and unlike the Bold, I think there's a lot of questions with that team. RGV, there are questions with to me, I think there are some questions long term with RGV, and it's not so much whether they're going to stick around, but whether they're going to be in USL Championship or League One. And the reason why I say that is Jake Edwards had a discussion with Sports Illustrated. I forget the guy's name, but he mentioned that there's going to be possibly 8 to 10 teams that are in the championship team that's going to drop down. So you figure some of those are going to be more of the MLS2 teams, but and I know RGV's semi MLS2. I know they're kind of a hybrid, but they're more MLS2 than say Reno is, which is more of an affiliate as a hybrid. So to me, I think both of those kind of have a little bit. Austin Bold to me has huge question marks. RGV has little question marks. Just for the fact they are a 2 team. They do have HEB Park, but so that'll be something to maybe kind of look at to see if they are one of the teams that may transition down, or if they'll be sticking around. But to me, like I said here with them, and then St. Louis coming to town to train.
That's pretty neat. That is pretty cool, especially now that they're in the East. I get that.
And it's one thing that I think that San Antonio, to me, and I'm going to include Austin Bold on this. To me, I think it's an opportunity that San Antonio and Austin are missing out on. And maybe when Austin FC, in 2021 comes on, this maybe more realistic to have, because you got the preseason games over Orlando, Tampa area. You've got FC Tucson and Phoenix Rising hosting preseason tournaments. To me, I think it would be awesome to have, or not even tournaments, but just preseason friendlies with MLS teams. And through that, I think San Antonio, Austin area, because they are close enough, they are going to have the facilities to be able to do it. I think it'd be cool to kind of have a little cup, preseason, cup, where you get, let's say a mixture of MLS, USL teams, and for that here. So I do think that's something that we could probably see sooner than later, especially with the news from today up I-95. So with the schedule here, outside of to me, in my opinion, the 2 big things that I took away: the annual FC Dallas match, the El Paso Locomotives is the star, no away trip, and that one I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but no Bold. I was kind of expecting just to kind of be able to fill them out for that here. But so that brings on to the next thing here is players to the team. So on January 11th, San Antonio announced that they have acquired Joshua Yaro, who played with the Philadelphia Union. He was the 2nd overall pick in the 2016 Super Draft, and he has made 17 appearances for 1,326 minutes in his rookie season with the Philadelphia Union, and has over 41 total appearances. So I reached out to some of the guys that I know on Twitter that follow. They say he's got tons of potential. The issue with him is concussions. So he seems to miss a little bit of time, with concussions or injuries. So it'll be upper body injuries per San Antonio FC for that here.
She never want to laugh about it. That was funny.
But he is a center back. There's a great YouTube video out on him, and like I said, I highlighted it out, from his time, in with Georgetown, which is where he went to school, because he is from Ghana. So it's something that I do think that if you have, I think it's about 5 minutes, but it's something that Georgetown put together. But it was an outstanding video. But I'm excited for him. What about you?
Well, I think you nailed it. Just from kind of to reading about him, I hadn't obviously seen a whole lot of film of the guy, and the concussion stuff. That's unfortunate. Cesar Elizondo is another player who you feel like just has unlimited potential, but unfortunately, just that injury bug. But I think that I know his 2014 top drawer soccer player of the year. Like you said, drafted second overall in the super draft. And that to me just says that there was a lot of hype, a lot of buildup around this kid, that the potential that he had was there. But then, when you read about the minutes and the appearances, and that's kind of where you just start to wonder, was it all hype? And obviously, I think it's still early enough in his career that San Antonio FC isn't like a final destination for him. He's probably trying to use this as more of a proving ground to get back
Like
up there. Exactly, up into the MLS, into that upper echelon. But, I hope that this is a good fit for him and this system, because obviously the center back position is going to be really important for us this season, with the loss of Sip. So, like I say, I didn't know about the concussions, but when I was reading about the player, I think potential is a great way to put it. With all the hype that was there leading up into his career there with Philadelphia, and then the time that he spent with Bethlehem. But I hadn't seen too much to really get excited about when it comes to the appearances and minutes.
And that's why that's the concern. He said when he was on the field, and like I said, he's great. The problem is and this as a player, if you're not on the field, what benefit are you really to the team? And so I'm hoping kind of a fresh start. He seems like from his interaction so far, he seems like a good kid. And like I said, I was really impressed with the YouTube video that Georgetown did. You could kind of see why he is a San Antonio FC guy, because he's got that great character. And I know we kind of laugh that off sometimes, but, I think in the locker room, and especially, the last couple of years where there's been hints of some possible locker room drama, we'll just say, I think with him, he's a solid core guy. And like I said here, just from the research I've been able to do, I'm excited for the young guy here. And like I said here, injuries are, injuries is the component that nobody can control. And, I know Coach McCarthy is still in the area now. So, maybe he can lend his headband over to him. And congratulations, Coach McCarthy, Stephen McCarthy, staying in the area to coach. I think is what
incarcerated word. You said it again. But yeah, you're right. UIW.
I'll just go UIW.
Change it.
UIW. So congratulations to him for that here. So then today we got news of a Liga MX and Ascenso MX veteran by the name of Yahir Barahaza, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that.
Gordinho.
San Antonio got him on loan from FC Atlas of Liga MX, but just going through the wiki page of FC Atlas, it seems like everybody's on loan through them.
Yeah, I guess we were joking earlier. That's where they get the name Atlas from, is because you need one to know where all their players are with the number of players they have on loan. But yeah, we don't have our resident Liga MX guru with us this evening. What were you able to find out with this one? I think this one got a lot of people excited based upon the reaction that I saw of friends that I have that follow Liga MX and saw the signing.
Really? I know really not a lot. Yeah, I don't follow Liga MX. It's just they're here. But, he is, he's 28. So, he's not a young guy. He has had 70 appearances since 2008. He was a U23 player for Mexico. So he's got that pedigree. I think when I was looking at his stats here, I think the last 2 years he's been relatively quiet. But prior to that, I think it was Nexia, he had a really good year. But since then, he's only had 17 appearances between Liga MX and the second division there. So I don't know if injuries or what have kind of slowed him down. But to me, I think it'll be kind of a good. To me, it opens up a lot of questions. Just for the fact that, okay, he's another forward. I think San Antonio FC sent out a picture of him and Guzman. I don't know if they were, playing for the same team or, having that kind of, that same relationship through there. But you also got Bruce as well. So that gives us three forwards that have potential. And I know San Antonio in their release mentioned that, he's in line for a starting position. So to me, does that mean that we're going more aggressive, more goal oriented this year? Because you're looking at the signings outside. To me, I think the midfield is still where they're weak at. But you've got three solid forwards. The wings look pretty stacked so far here. So for the attack side, to me, I don't think you can just play one forward with all that you have. But then again, I know I was talking with Royce, messaging, back and forth on here. To me, I wonder if it signals that Coach Powell is going to be looking to switch things up this year compared to the last couple of years.
I think we have to, man. I think you nailed it towards the end of last season when, you talked about the USL kind of turning into more of a goal-scoring league. And, I think that's what San Antonio FC was lacking last year. And so bringing in some more firepower, obviously Gordon's not coming back, right? Didn't they make that? No, he's going to OKC Energy. That
was the other thing that we're going to talk about. Anna was upset because that was her favorite player.
My bad. I didn't mean to jump the gun here, but I think with Gordon being gone and everything, I think you're looking for some more firepower to come in and hopefully put something on frame instead of over the top of it by about 200 feet.
Well, he's the only guy that I know that's hit 118. So, and I think he did it more than once.
I think he sent one out of the stadium over there on the other end where the gardeners are. Man, he made it over. But we've talked about Gordon, and to me, that's just not a huge loss, to be completely honest.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Well, I will say this: if you go to the reaction on social media, through Twitter and Facebook, a lot of fans were upset on, because the expectation was that, Gordon was going to be trying to go to MLS or over to Europe. Mm-hmm. For him to land
with OKC,
with the energy. But I think if he landed anywhere, and it wasn't just that he landed with OKC, he signed with OKC. So it wasn't a loan from his current team. So he was completely free.
Right.
The complaint or the big issues that I've heard is, why didn't San Antonio FC go after him? And like, I forget who tweeted it, but I have a feeling that when they had their discussions at the end of the year, and he said, "Hey, I want to do this," obviously bringing back Lance was to me the top priority of for San Antonio FC, and then them bringing in Restrepo is a way to kind of fill that void. And I know there's separate players, there's different age. I don't think Restrepo's as quick. No. But I think he does shoot a little bit better, as far as he puts frame, puts it a little bit more on frame. I don't think Restrepo's as good one-on-one at this stage now. If we're talking 3-4 years ago, I think maybe a little bit different. But I think the legs got a little bit more wear and tear, so it'll be interesting to see. But I just think, San Antonio thought he was going to go a different direction, and I'm wondering if things didn't pan out, and he landed at, and Oklahoma City is a good team, don't get me wrong, great organization, but like I said here, I think for the fan base, that's what upset them the most, is that he did come back to USL, he signed with a USL team, and it's not San Antonio.
I mean, what do you think it really was, though? I know when Billy kind of went out to Phoenix, and it's funny we forgot to mention it, but when Luis and Preston kind of did that tease for the defender that we signed, everybody in the comments kind of thought that might be Billy holding up that scarf.
But I don't see Billy coming back, though. And I know
not anymore.
An agreement on that, but
not anymore. I think that ship has sailed. I agree with you. I don't think he really fits into the roster anymore. But the thing that I was going to say is that when Billy went to Phoenix, it was supposedly more about the money than it was really, and probably Drogba and getting to play with him and learn.
Well,
You could
that's his hero, right? Or,
yeah, you could see kind of idolize the guy. I mean, who wouldn't? So I'm
plus you got
sure.
Super Sam,
Yeah, and
Sam
Sam.
Dorr.
Yeah,
Who
so he had a
doesn't want to
relationship
work with
there.
Sam Dorr?
Right. So, I mean, there were some other reasons. It wasn't just the money, but I feel like if Coach Powell, just really wanted Gordon back, and he was going to sign with the USL team. I mean, you mentioned OKC Energy. They're a decent club. I'm sure they're a decent organization, but it's not like he went up to FCC Cincinnati or, up to Louisville or,
Mm-hmm.
Something like that where, well, which Cincinnati's in the MLS now. But I'm just saying it's not like he went to like one of the top USL teams.
Correct.
He went to another middle of the pack USL team and BFE Oklahoma. So I wonder what the reasoning was behind it, and I wonder if we really wanted to keep him, could we have, unless the offer was just so great that he was getting from OKC that we didn't want to match it.
But I also wonder, because last year he had his, and like I said here, I wish Todd was on the line because Todd's a pretty good numbers guy here. And Todd did reach out to us. He's been super busy, and when the season probably kicks off, he's expecting to be back more on the site here. So I can't wait for that. But to me, I really wonder if San Antonio, because they've had him for a year and a half, and one-on-one he's great, but on the finishing, and especially if you're going to be going more offensive, getting shots on target is a huge factor to that. You may not score a goal, but if you can get it on frame to where if you're going to run two forwards in the box, which like I said, I know Royce was thinking maybe they might try like a 4-4-2 with like Leicester City does, or I know last year they did what the 3-4-3 a little bit, if maybe they try something like that, but that's good. And kind of circling back to what we initially talked about, San Antonio FC, that's what the key is, I think, for this preseason. It's to figure out what the identity of 2019 is going to be for the team, because I don't think it's going to be the same as what it was for 2017 and 2018.
Let me ask you this: how quickly? So I know you said preseason. How quickly do you think, or how important is it for them to establish that quickly, rather than last season where we really didn't know what the identity of the team was leading up into all year long? You know what I mean? So it's like you can use the preseason for that, and hopefully they can kind of figure it out earlier, rather than it seemed like last year we were kind of wondering what the identity was all season long.
I think it's huge. And you look at the different years between 2017 and 2018. 2017, you knew you had that rock defense. Mm-hmm. With Sebastian, McCarthy, and I forget there was some other Sip. So you had that three solid center backs that were going to be there, and I know Sip got hurt a little bit. Mm-hmm. For that, you had the wings, you had Cochran, so you knew your key was the defense. Mm-hmm. This year, you still got Matt Diego. Is not. He on social media he said he's not coming back. Now we don't know where he's going. We don't know who else is going to be behind the pipes. For there. So it's.
I got my tryout on Friday.
I don't see defense, at least at this point, being the key. So I think how they're being built at this point, and like I said, there could be some players that haven't been announced. Some as we discussed, some MLS fringe guys that may still be coming down for that. For that here. So to me, that's something that. Every indication shows they're going to be more offensive. So to me, offensive is on there. You've got to be able to connect from the back to the front to to the middle, and I think that identity is going to be the key. Now, how they do it, that's where I'll lean on you, and I lean on Royce quite a bit as far as through social media just to, kind of get a little bit more, because I know you guys have played the game, or, I've never played the game. So you understand that aspect a lot better than I do.
I mean, that part of it's pretty simple. You got to score more goals than the opposing team does, and sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. But, it'll be interesting. Hopefully, that's kind of why I really want to get that media credential for this season. Because, when you talk with Coach Powell, he's a very intelligent person.
Oh,
You know what I
he's a
mean?
smart dude.
Very smart guy, understands the game immensely. And so just having the ability to be able to talk to him and get a better understanding of exactly what they're trying to accomplish, what he's trying to accomplish, kind of what the identity of this squad is, I'm looking forward to immensely.
Yeah, so that's kind of the news so far. I think we both still expect that there's going to be quite a bit more news before camp comes, because I think right now they're only at 13 players.
13 signed 2 on 11. Yep.
So 13 players. So there's still room for probably a good 8-9 players.
25, yeah.
For that here. So in camp, I'm assuming camp starts in. Well, we know it starts in at least 2 weeks, because they got a friendly coming up. So you figure camp's probably breaking a week or two before that, right?
Yeah. You got the tryouts still on Friday, which it'll be kind of interesting to see. I don't know of really any players that have tried out for these tryouts and ended up making the squad. That's definitely something that we would probably have to fact check.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm not sure about the practice team and stuff like that they kind of keep on the inactive roster.
I thought I remember hearing about one. I'd have to kind of go through that one player did, but it was fringe, and I don't remember a lot of opportunities. So out of the players that's still unsigned, is there any, I know Maxey seems to be kind of a fan favorite, local guy. And no disrespect.
Ethan Bryant, well, you got to assume Ethan's going to come back, right? Just because
You're
of being on the
Ethan's
academy
contract. But he's not on a pro contract. So
right.
His contract's a little bit different.
Right.
It's an academy contract.
So I'd say Maxey's a big one. What about Ku? I never know how to put Como. Yeah, you think they're gonna bring him back for another season? I mean, do you think those are maybe, like you said, there's probably room for a handful at least of players? Do you feel like maybe a few of those guys just kind of they throw out there at the end and that makes up a little bit of the roster?
But if they were gonna, to me, if you were gonna bring back players, wouldn't you have already announced that?
Well, they're going to be starting from scratch this year if they don't bring back any of those guys, right?
If you're signing your own players, if you look at the history of it, it seems like they do that at the start, unless it's like a Forbes type situation where, where I think it was 2 years ago he had a trial with some MLS teams, or like Sebastian. I guess Sebastian's a better example, where they didn't announce him back.
Sure.
And that was because he had the opportunity to go trial elsewhere.
Well, Ibiaga was on loan, wasn't he?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I was thinking that he was on loan.
Yeah, he was.
That was kind of the season.
Houston FC dropped, Houston Dynamo, not Houston FC. Houston Dynamo dropped him.
Okay.
We signed him on a free. And then, I don't know if it was the affiliation, basically he went up and trialed with, New York City and ended up signing with,
That's right. It was the reverse. That's right. Yeah.
So, like I said here, but I don't consider any of the players that we're talking about to be at that level. So I don't think it's, hey, they're trialing with MLS or
sure.
an upper tier
So we don't
team.
know.
For that here to say, hey, if it doesn't work out, you'll come back to San Antonio.
Right.
And like I said, it's not a disrespect to Maxey, just, and like I said, I wasn't a fan of Maxey. I thought he was a little bit slower than what I wanted to have more in the midfield, because I want to see more of attacking, more pushing. And I think for the defensive mids, which I think is where he's at, last year we were stacked there. Now, is he a filler position, this year? I guess we'll see, but he seems to be the big local guy. Obviously, they're going to need 2 to 3 goaltenders.
Another goalie.
Or 1 to 2 goaltenders, because we only got 1 on record, for that here. So I know we're getting kind of up to our hour time frame here. So Any last second thoughts on San Antonio FC that you have? I know we kind of covered, the training schedule. We talked about the doubleheader with FC Dallas on February 9th. $10 it is at Toyota Stadium. So I do wonder how many, SAFC fans will make the trek. And then, I know Dallas is kind of pushing that one as well. So that, that'll be interesting. And then, we talked UPSL goal of the year. We talked about the new state-of-the-art soccer center, and then the high school. So anything on your agenda that we missed or you want to add as far as for final comments?
No, I think we pretty much nailed all the pieces. I am excited, about the start of the San Antonio FC season. I think the roster is honestly starting to come together now. I think a lot of the fans you see are getting excited. One shout out I did want to mention, I guess, that we forgot to mark off the list was Sports Soccer Bible is recognizing Toyota Field, our Toyota Fields, not Toyota Stadium up there in Dallas, but our Toyota Field. Just kind of as highlighting it, and I thought that was pretty neat because not only did they do that, but typically, I follow some of these soccer pages, and when they announce or showcase, something from lower division soccer, a lot of the international fans and people that follow the page will kind of talk shit, for lack of a better word, about, that's a stadium, whereas I saw a lot of the comments and stuff like that on Instagram when they showcased Toyota Field were very positive
Yes.
regarding our stadium. And so I think sometimes, we take it for granted. And, I remember how just majestic and everything it was kind of when I first went to a match and how much it enticed me to actually, it felt like we had a professional soccer team, whether it's MLS or USL or whatever. And so I thought that was pretty cool that they did get that recognition. And then, like I say, the comments on it and everything were everybody recognizing how cool of a stadium we really have. And I think we can be pretty quick to forget that sometimes.
Yeah, to me, there's times, because I go to the stadium early because, AJ likes to, watch the players warm up and interact with
Study their
opposing
cleats.
goaltenders and study cleats. Oh my goodness. But, so my closing thoughts, and there's a little bit of breaking news here that I'll actually add to it here. Austin was officially named as MLS Team 27. So they have a owner-operator team with Mr. Anthony Precourt. So congratulations to them. I know it's, just being honest with it's a sour taste for San Antonio. And speaking of that, while we've been on the air at 8:24, Spurs Sports and Entertainment released a statement. And it goes as follows. San Antonio FC will continue to bring top-level professional soccer to the Alamo City. We are energized by the incredible support of our loyal fans and partners and remain committed to building a soccer club that serves as a source of pride for our city. So that is the response by SS&E. I know I sent out a tweet to them asking for a statement. Now, obviously, they didn't respond to my tweet directly. Don't get me wrong.
Of course they did. They watched the show.
But, like I said, I'm glad that they at least put something out. I do think that, Spurs Sports Entertainment does owe a more detailed explanation about the MLS to SA process. And the reason why I say that is I know it wasn't guaranteed, but there's some things that they did and didn't do that raised eyebrows, and I think hurts the perception of their intentions with the team. And what I mean by that, pulling out of the first round, even if you know you're not going to get it, why are you pulling out? There has to be a reason why. And to me, just relay more to the fans other than through here. And I will say this, Spurs Sports and Entertainment do not affiliate with Austin FC at all. If you do, it will destroy the fan base because, I think most of us can accept that, hey, MLS isn't going to be here. I think most of us are fine with that. But the second you affiliate with Austin FC, it will, like I said, it will it'll spoil the fan base, or it'll ruin the fan base, in my opinion. So, like I said here, I'm okay with your message. Because you do bring top level professional soccer. I think that is on point. I think you do have a great core loyal fans and partners, and I think SAFC is a source of pride for the city. I know when we did the poll of that, my biggest thing was the merchandise, and I even emailed my ticket representative to make sure that for me personally, getting that season ticket member shirt, even though it's not the greatest quality or anything like that, but to me it's what I wear around. If I go to away games, that's what I wear. And I know I can buy in a jersey for $80, but it's $80, and if I'm going to buy a jersey, I'd rather buy it for AJ and let him wear it, and build it for there than for me. And me being a little bit bigger guy, I'm not as good looking as Scott. They don't necessarily have my sizes all the time. So, but I know for me, I kind of went on a little rant, but
no, that's man. I'm glad you shared that, because I think what that does too is it just squashes a lot of questions. I think there's that little voice in your head kind of, and it's not anything that I really wanted to bring up on the podcast or anything like that, but you almost just wonder, so the goal was MLS. That doesn't really seem attainable anymore in the near future, at least. Does SSN even continue on with San Antonio FC, or do they try and position the team to sell and recoup some of their money, and it goes back to just being more of an independently type owned club? So I'm glad that they released that statement. I'm glad that you shared that. I hadn't really been looking at social media during the show, so I think it's great that they did that. I'm glad you announced it.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, if you don't have season tickets, please reach out. And if you can't afford season tickets, I know that they'll offer the plan A, plan B, the silver, black, or red and black plans here. But please try to support San Antonio FC, and especially now where there is going to be an MLS team up the road here. It's going to be it's going to even be more important to have that season ticket, fan base that you can rely on. I don't, in my opinion, I don't see a lot of people driving the 90 minutes or so, 2 hours to get up to Austin to watch a 2-hour match and then drive 2 hours back. But, I could be wrong on that.
It won't be the season ticket members. It'll be kind of the fringe. Like, I've got some friends at work, that go to some SAFC games, and they follow them on social media. And yeah, they're pumped up that Austin's getting a club, but they don't really understand, any of the background, or, it's just, oh, hey, MLS, yeah, I'll probably go to that, and that's that. But I don't think it's really going to impact the season ticket holders,
And I will say this, I know you and I didn't go, and I know, at least speaking for me, I have no intentions of supporting or really covering Austin FC at all, other than if San Antonio is kicking their ass. But I have a feeling, Kyle and Larry's show, the Texas Soccer Radio show, will be having some detail. I believe both of them were up there, which is great to kind of cover for them. So if you are looking for a little bit of coverage like that, I know there are other podcasts, Kyle and Larry, that will be able to give you a little bit more information if you are looking more on the national MLS
for Texas. Yeah, well, they cover Texas soccer.
But like I said here, I know for us, we will probably make snarky comments, and my favorite Todd phrase, fuck MLS is probably what will be the motto when it comes to Austin FC. And like I said, I know I've kind of cooled down on social media with the banter or the anti-banter towards them, because the fact is they're here. And,
exactly.
You can either try to fight it, and I've got a 10-year-old son to where if he wants to root for them, I'm not going to discourage him. There's only 2 teams that I say you can't root, to kind of circle back to the beginning of the show: the Oakland Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys.
Can't a guy just
for anybody other team?
Still in mourning. Too soon.
So, but anything you want to end the show on outside of that?
No, I think that's it.
Some depressing news, but
I do want to reiterate Ian's Foundation. We are going to have them on soon for the Ian's Cup. So, check them out. It's a great organization. and we'll talk more about them and have some more guests on. We've got some people that we're talking to right now, trying to get Bernie on. And as you mentioned, actually, a quick shout out if I can find it. I had it and then lost it. But the players from Trinity University that were recognized as basically United States Soccer All Americans here just recently, and I saw that some of the Bernie Thunder coaches were actually up there. And I believe it was Chicago for that event. So congratulations, Quentin Vanderlee, Austin, and Brady on being nominated as United Soccer Coaches All Americans. That is quite an achievement and a way to represent the city of San Antonio.
Yeah, outstanding. And like I said here, I know Trinity has set the bar high for all of San Antonio soccer to try to reach us. And Central Catholic is probably equal to them as far as rewards, or not rewards, but as
recognition,
far as awards and recognition
off the pitch,
the level of play that they provide the community. And I'm hoping San Antonio FC will soon join that, as well as the Runners and Samba. I would love for both of them to win their divisions and fight it out in the playoffs and the best team that win. That's San Antonio soccer. As we saw, there's somebody that's investing $6.2 million. We got the Spurs that are committed, or on paper saying that they're committed. You and I both know the UPSL owners that are probably some of the most diehard soccer fans that you have. So when you want to talk about roots, San Antonio definitely has it, as opposed to a certain team up by 35.
All right, there it is, sir. There's the banter. Well, this is the San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. We out.
We're out. So hope you don't mind, but